Coast to Coast, our NFL insider Adam Schefter is reporting that the Carolina Panthers interviewed former Packers head coach Mike McCarthy for their head coaching job. Schefter's saying it happened after their game against the Colts on Sunday. No comment yet from Carolina. McCarthy coached the Pack for 13 seasons before being fired last December. The Panthers fired head coach Ron Rivera a few weeks ago. Our NFL insider Dan Graziano with us. Now, we mentioned Ron Rivera and the Panthers. They need to replace that situation. We also have in Washington that they need to replace Jay Gruden. This time next week, we're expecting more of these positions open. So, Dan, take us through some notable ones that we could see coming next week.
Well, let's start in Dallas. I think everybody knows the situation at this point in Dallas. If they lose or the Eagles win, then the Cowboys have missed the playoffs, and you would think Jason Garrett at that point would be out. What we've been saying since training camp is that Garrett needs a deep playoff run to save his job. That's still possible, but if it doesn't happen, then I think the Cowboys probably make a change. The head coach Garrett's contract is up, so it really wouldn't technically be a firing, it'd just be a change. Could make a change in New York with Pat Shurmur and the Giants. You know, it's been a very disappointing 2 years, been a very disappointing 7 or 8 years, really, for the Giants. So they could be looking to make a change. This is a situation we have our eye on very closely. Possible changes coming with the Giants. Not sure exactly which way it's going to go, but it seems to be leaning toward a change. Cleveland Browns, Freddie Kitchens in his first year, obviously another very disappointing team that had high hopes. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. There are people in the front office that want to stick with him, give him another chance. We're not sure what the owner's going to decide. I wonder if a loss to the Bengals on Sunday that would drop them to 6-10 might actually hurt his chances to stay. Doug Marrone in Jacksonville. This is one we're watching closely as well. Tom Coughlin, who was running the football operations, got fired last week. Is that the only change Jacksonville makes? Marrone was there before Coughlin was, and the owner is said to like him, so it's possible he might be able to convince him to keep him. But again, we're watching that one. And then in Atlanta, at midpoint of the season, you would have said Dan Quinn maybe didn't have a shot to finish the season, but they've won a bunch of games in the second half. They've beaten the Saints. They've beaten the 49ers. They've played hard for Dan Quinn. As a guy that took them to the Super Bowl not long ago, it's conceivable that he could save his job and that we're not talking about an opening in Atlanta next week, which would be a surprise when you think back a couple of months.
Yeah, so many questions right now as we close the regular season. We'll continue to monitor these situations closely when the season concludes. That is our Dan Graziano with the insight.
Going undefeated and still being number 3 at the end of the year definitely is a chip on our shoulder.
Everybody in this place right here has to go this week as hard as you can. How tough are you? How hard can you go?
In just 4 days, we get to see Clemson and Ohio State battle it out. The pair of undefeated conference champs are talking about each other. The Buckeyes are looking to make a statement. Clemson looking to shut them down once again. New on SportsCenter, Trevor Lawrence on proving those who don't believe they should be there wrong.
A little bit. I mean, we did kind of, right when it came out that we were the 3 seed, we talked a little bit about it, but at this point, you know, we got our chance to prove it, and, you know, we're happy for that, and we're grateful for that, you know, so we're glad to be here, and we get a chance to prove it, so we don't really talk too much about that anymore.
Most people think we're not supposed to be here. They didn't want us to be here, honestly. You know, I would say it's fuel, but that's not really what drives me to play the way that I want to play. It is something that's in the back of my head. Just we could prove everybody wrong. Why not shock the world?
I think a big impact on if I go out there and do what I have to do, and play like I know I can play. You know, I think y'all seen it, you know, all year that, you know, a defensive end, you know, can definitely change the game, can wreck a whole ball game. So, you know, that's what I plan to do.
Ahead on Coast to Coast, our college football playoff coverage continues. We are in Arizona and Atlanta. We're going to tell you which major playmakers will be a scratch come Saturday. Carrie?
All right, Tony. So beast mode is back. I alluded to this earlier, and if I'm the Niners, I may feel some type of way. The running back and Seattle agreed to a deal on Monday. The deal is only for the season beginning Week 17. Depleted at the running back position, they also signed Robert Turbin. Seahawks lost running back C.J. Prosise and Chris Carson to season-ending injuries. Speaking of beast mode, I just want to remind you all, let's flash back to this unforgettable moment, the Beast Quake against the Saints 2010 NFC wildcard game. Lynch makes the Saints defense look like child's play. Get off me, get off me, get off me. How many tackles does he break? 6 or 7? I don't know. Extremely impressive run, 67 yards for the touchdown. And I'm in. That, like, I don't know if you all do y'all remember that?
Heck yeah, we remember it. And it's good to see now, though. Like, that's the type of football you want to see in the playoffs. That's a team that wasn't even supposed to be in the playoffs playing against the defending champs, and you get that. That's why it was a beast quake.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, like I said, if I'm the Niners, I feel some type of way. RC, we'll start with you. What impact can Marshawn Lynch really have on the Seahawks?
Well, listen, the big thing Marshawn Lynch can do is bring back a physicality to this team that they need. When you look at what they were against the Arizona Cardinals this weekend, you can't have that. This is a team that was built on a physical downhill running attack and a defense that got after your keister, and they didn't do that this weekend. Now he brings that type of physicality. He brings an identity to this team, and he lets people know this is what being a Seattle Seahawk is about, and they're going to love to have Marshawn Lynch back in the fold.
Yeah, listen, I couldn't agree with you more. Just the mentality of what Marshawn Lynch represents, right? This guy wants to run between the tackles. He wants to hit you right in the mouth. He is about the noise. He wants that action. He's going to ask for it as an offensive lineman. Those are the guys you lay it all out there to block for because he makes you look better than you really are, right? It's that type. But here's one thing no one's talking about that I can tell you will definitely show up Sunday. Pass blocking. Again, very few running backs want to meet dudes in the trees. That means at the offensive line. Whether it's a blitzing linebacker, and now you got Dwayne Brown who's not going to play. If they have to slide protect, he's got to go block an end. He will meet you, and he wants to hit you face to face. Again, energy, excitement. Linemen want to block for that. Russell Wilson, he needs that. Yeah. You need someone to come help you. You talked about the Cardinals game. Russell Wilson didn't want no more of that action. I can tell you that one hurt him, right? So he needs a guy like that mentality to come in and help him out.
Okay, Jeff Saturday with very few dudes want to meet you in the trees. Thank you for that. I'm taking that with me now. Let's talk about the AFC, shall you? Here's a look at where things stand in the AFC. All 4 divisions have officially been wrapped up. Now, we have seen this. The Bills have also clinched a playoff berth, while the Titans, Steelers, and Raiders are each in the mix for the second wild card. FPI gives the Ravens a 53% chance of making the Super Bowl this season, by far the highest chance for any playoff team. So, guys, Ravens are clearly the class of the NFL. KC right behind them. They also went way back into that time machine and got T-Sizzle. You guys know him as Terrell Suggs. So, RC, tell me more about that move. Why do you think they did that?
One, it's a big move because you lose Okafor, right? So you need to find somebody who can fill that spot. And you heard T. Suggs, I only want to play for Baltimore. If it's not the Ravens, I may retire. Lies you tell, because KC came knocking and he answered. Because he understands adding this type of piece to this team, a guy who has a Pro Bowl pedigree, a Super Bowl pedigree, and also is chasing that last ring, that's an energy you want to bring to your team. And since moving Tyrann Mathieu to the slot, you've changed the face of this defense in the way that they attack. And so now you get T-Sizzle. You have a guy on the other side of Frank Clark who can rush the passer. This team can get after you on all 3 levels, and they're going to need that facing a Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, and even the New England Patriots in the playoffs.
Listen, I love this move, and it's not just for pass rush. If you watch what Suggs does against the run, this guy, he plays the position almost like you would teach a kid in high school. He understands it that well, right? Like, you just, hey, this is the basics. You step 1 yard, you meet something, you wrong shoulder, you hammer something back. He does it exactly right. Him talking to this front 7, how much football he's played, how much he's seen, he understands what is required of a defensive lineman. Not just to go rush the passer, not to scream up the field and open up 2 gaps. He will play his role, and he's all about it. And listen, you got to have that. I mean,
and the other
that's
part
what
is,
takes you the next
the
level.
other thing is, too, physicality. You know when you get into the playoffs, it's about how physical will you be what you're willing to do. And this dude is willing to do it all.
Listen, it's exciting. I love it. Frankly, he's going to make Frank Clark a better player, Jones in the you name it. He's made that front 7 substantially better just showing up. And that doesn't even take into account he can go get sacks. Let's take that out, right? I mean, unbelievable.
Jeff Saturday giving us the breakdown, RC as well. Meanwhile, I just want to say something, guys. This is really important. Jeff Saturday looking already like a younger GQ Slim type of Santa.
You gotta turn it on. You gotta turn it on.
I got a little.
Then you brought in the tie.
Yeah.
You brought in the now. Did your children? Did your daughter ask you to wear that in Freddie Kitchen style?
This is my son. My youngest son gave me this one to rock. So I got this one. I'm representing today.
Okay, you really are, and you clearly love your children.
Yeah.
The Chiefs facing Chargers Week 17. Mark from RC and
Jeff
Jeff
love
on
the
NFL. Jeff
Jeff
love
love
the
the
kids.
kids.
You love the kids. NFL Live at 1:30 Eastern. Thank you, kids. Speaking of.